there, friends! So today we're going to talk about Discworld. This video specifically is going to be about what Discworld is and different starting points. I'm mostly making this for people who are thinking about getting into Discworld or who are new to Discworld. So yeah, what is Discworld? Discworld is a book series. I like to think of it as more of a setting because there are many different series arcs with different character arcs within Discworld, and it's just easier for my brain to process it as a setting than a series. But the way that it was published is as a series. It is a satirical comedy fantasy series. That's a lot of adjectives, but I think that they are all necessary when describing Discworld. There are definitely books where it's very absurd and kind of silly, and then there are other ones where it's very satirical and just a commentary on society and that sort of thing. But either way, they are all full of puns, and they're just so fun to read. Even the more serious toned ones, it's a blast to get through, I guess. So that being said, Discworld, as the setting, is a flat world that is on top of 4 giant elephants that ride on top of a giant turtle through space. And that kind of sets up the feel for the entire series, to be honest. There are several different starting points whenever it comes to the Discworld series. The first starting point is book number 1, The Color of Magic. This one is about a cowardly wizard. I have done a full video about this one. It will be linked below. So The Color of Magic is the first book of the series, as well as being the first book of the Rincewind series. If you like the idea of a reluctant hero to the extreme, then I would recommend this one. It's about an incompetent wizard who just gets dragged into an adventure a lot. The second starting point is equal rights. This one starts off the witch series. If you like witches, I myself do, so I do like the witch series. And if you like stories and their influence on people and things like that, the witch series is just a good one to get into that. But equal rights is the starting point for witches. It's another one I have a video for. It's about a little girl who is born with the gift of magic and is trained to be a witch, but it's wizard magic in a world where women are all witches and men are all wizards. The next starting point is Mort. This is one where death takes on an apprentice, and this is the beginning of the death series. I don't think I really need to say much more about this. Death is just an amazing character. He explores a lot of what it means to be human through not being human, and through being this embodiment of ending life. He is constantly seeking what it means to live. The next starting point is Guards, and this is the beginning of my personal favorite series within the Discworld, and it is the Watch series. And in it, basically, this group of City Watch officers, the Night Watch, who have kind of been deemed useless and have, they're just not great at their jobs, suddenly have to face a dragon and have to figure out how to maneuver around that when a dragon is summoned to their city. This one has one of my favorite characters in it, Sam Vimes, and in my opinion, he has some of the best development out of any fictional character that I have ever encountered. The next series starting point is the We Free Men. This is the beginning of Terry Pratchett's YA series, the Tiffany Aching series. This is one where a young girl, basically her brother gets abducted by fairies, and so she grabs a frying pan and goes off to save him. And through that, she kind of learns some magic and learns what it is to be a witch. So another good witch series if you enjoy witches, and I feel like she very much embodies what it means to be a witch in Terry Pratchett's world. It is one of my favorite series as well. I think I've said that for 3 of them now. All right, and then the final series starting point is Going Postal.
Hey friends, so I definitely forgot to mention what series this is part of. So Going Postal is part of the Industrial Revolution series, or at least it's generally considered that. However, it is not the first book of this sub-series, but I still think it's a really good starting point because it is the beginning of this protagonist's arc.
This one is basically about a con man who gets a second chance and is assigned to revamp the big city's postal system that has basically been dead for decades at this point. So yeah, those are all the series starting points. If you're not sure about Discworld and you don't want to make the commitment of starting one of the series, there are actually also several standalone type novels within it, and I'm gonna just go on and go through those really quickly. One is Pyramids. This one is about essentially an Egyptian prince. It's in a country that's very inspired by Egypt. Of course, it's on Discworld, but it's called Jelly Baby. He is trained as an assassin, and he comes back to his kingdom, and he finds that after being in the wide world, that his kingdom might not be as great as he used to think it was, and adventures ensue. Another standalone is Small Gods. This one is about religion. Specifically, it is about the power of belief in Discworld and how basically gods exist because people believe in them. And this is a journey that one god takes who used to be very mighty and powerful, and he's lost all his true believers. And it's a journey of humility for him, as well as exploring how religion can be helpful to people, but also harmful. Another one is Moving Pictures. This is one that basically through the space-time continuum movies happen on Discworld. It's basically just a very satirical look at the movie industry, at Hollywood, and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, that's Moving Pictures. The Truth is another one. This one is a very similar theme, only it's newspapers, and it's not because of the thin walls of reality. It's something that comes about more naturally, that newspapers develop in Discworld, and it's what changes and what happens and what kind of truths come out about people whenever the media is introduced into a world like this. The next one is another young adult, and it is The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents. This is one that I actually don't remember a whole lot about, other than it's basically a retelling of the Pied Piper, but in this case the Pied Piper has a cat, and the cat's actually the one who's in control of the rats, and it's from the cat's perspective. I remember it being a very fun read whenever I read it. And it's one where if you like talking animals and that sort of thing, then this is going to be a really good place for you to start. I know a lot of people have feelings about those tropes. All right, and then the last standalone that I'm going to talk about is Monstrous Regiment. And this is basically a Mulan trope where a girl, her brother joins the army and goes off to war. And after, I think, a year or so, she begins to worry and decides to cut all her hair off and disguise herself as a young man to join the army as well. So yes, those are all the books that I generally recommend starting with. And now I'm going to go into kind of the reading order and different takes on it. Some people do decide to start with book number 1, The Color of Magic, and go chronologically through reading Discworld. Many people are very against this idea. I am sort of in the crowd of do what feels right to you. If you really enjoy The Color of Magic and you want to keep reading Rincewind after the book number 2, Light Fantastic, then find the other Rincewind books and go with Rincewind instead. But if you're willing to change things up and see what else is going on in Discworld, then by all means continue chronologically if you think that that's the way you'll enjoy it the most. My personal experience is not going thematically or chronologically. I went with what I had access to. The first 2 Discworld books I had, I borrowed from a friend, and they were The Color of Magic and Mort. And then after that, it was whatever I could find at my school library and whatever I got for Christmas or anything. And so my reading of Discworld has been completely jumbled. It's all over the place. I still haven't read, I think, 4 or 5 books, and there are random books in the middle of the series. I guess I'm just of the perspective that if you're going to love this series, then you should be encouraged to do whatever you think feels right. I don't like when people say that you should read it one way or should read it another way, because I feel like it's gatekeeping, but it's gatekeeping at a gate that has no fence around it, if that makes sense. Like, it's Discworld. I have actually picked up just random books in the middle of the series and recommended them to people because it just feels so right to give that person that book. I feel like fans of different series just want other people to love the series as much as they do, and so they often will express their personal preferences and their personal experiences, and I can definitely appreciate them wanting to spread their love and wanting for other people to love it as much as they do. I just want to make it very clear that Discworld is definitely a series where you can do what feels right, and however you're going to enjoy reading it, please read it that way. So yes, I am going to be linking my Discworld Newbies playlist. There's more in-depth description about some of the books in that, and I will see you around.